Hey everybody, Meredith Cowley here from Custom B&B Hosting. So happy to be joining you in this Facebook Live today. If you are watching live, say g'day, give us a shout out, and just put hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, say hashtag replay, whatever. And if you've got any questions for us during this whole interview that I'm going to be doing with Keith, then you can put the questions in and I will ask him live and hopefully not put him on the spot too much. But if you've got any questions even after and you're listening and you're curious, like Keith will answer them. I know we're friends. I can send him the messages. He'll be in the group anyway and see your questions. So we can have an ongoing communication with Keith for as long as we need to, I'm sure. So without further blabbering from me, I'm going to say welcome to Keith. Keith is from a company called MORC Interiors and he has a range of services and customers that he services, but one of his areas that he has done some work in is in the Airbnb space, and that's why we're talking to him today. I'm going to get him to tell his story, and I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions to unpack his story because it's pretty curious. I'm pretty curious about, you've got this huge creative side to you now. You were doing something that I wouldn't traditionally say wasn't so creative. Engineering, is that right?
Yes.
It is. Yes. That's a real lie, actually. But in a different kind of space, in a different kind of way. So, Keith, tell us, how did you come to be doing an interior fit out design company and running a company and business?
Yeah. So thank you. Firstly, thank you very much for having me and for doing this interview. So how did I get into this design or Airbnb interior fit out industry? Yes, you're right. I started as an engineer. I can't remember how long ago. I started my business 5 years ago. So 3 years before that, I was working as an engineer, and I did kind of enjoy the work. But one thing I found was I wasn't able to use or find areas where I could really explore the creative side of me, right? And I couldn't really express my creativity. I really like property as well. So I thought, what can I do to try and to try and explore that? And so one day, through different jobs, I thought, you know what, let's start this business, because I found that in the property industry, many homeowners were buying their new home, getting their new properties, and when they go into a new home, it's completely empty, and they had no idea how to furnish it. So I thought, you know what, I think we can do a good job in helping them provide this service, turnkey service, to help them from planning to delivery to install to styling, do everything in one package in a turnkey service, so they don't have to, lift a finger. And so by doing that, we started to get some traction. But within our first year of business, we got our first Airbnb property, which was really, really exciting, because it felt like that was an avenue where we could really let our creativity go a bit looser or get more creative in that area, because at the end they were trying to design something that would really attract more guests to come to the property, and which will be a better rental return for the investors as well. So so that's how we got into the whole interior fit out and interior design space.
Yeah, fantastic. So what do you love about designing short-term rental spaces?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, it really gives us the opportunity to be creative. I get to get my designers. I can tell my designers, all right, here's the brief. As long as within these parameters or within what the client's looking for, you can be as creative as you want. So but at the same time, we also try to talk to clients to try and say, hey, if you do this or try this idea, you'd be able to get this kind of results. And so far in the past, we've been able to do that for a lot of clients. We've done an Avengers Marvel theme Airbnb before. That did very well. We did the Harry Potter theme Airbnb, and that did very well as well. And so obviously we didn't do any last year because of COVID, but we would love to really try different themes and ideas, especially anything from pop culture as well, because that kind of showcase our it kind of blends together our creativity and our passion for what we love and what we want to do. So
yeah, spot on. And you're so spot on with those themes. Like, people are loving that stuff right now. Awesome.
yeah.
What, well, because it's just about having something different to do and an experience, isn't it? Like, we're stuck in COVID, we're stuck in lockdown, we get out of it, we want to go and do something different. We can't go overseas, so we have to look in domestically, and the unique experiences are certainly doing really well. And interestingly, that Airbnb has just, I don't know if you know, they've just rolled out 103 updates and upgrades to their platform. And one of them is about highlighting, you can select by a property type, so a yurt or a tent or a something. Now, so it might not be an Avengers room, but you're right. Like, those unique experiences are the thing, or unique places, like a treehouse, that sort of stuff, are what are they're creating opportunities for people to filter and find find properties that way. So all right, what do you see as the biggest mistake that people are making when they design and style their properties for Airbnb?
So I think, to start off with the most basic, just talking about furniture. Furniture is like the backbone of setting up your property for Airbnb. And one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make is they want to save money, and that's fine. That's important. I understand that people want to be cost effective. People have budgets to follow, but the mistake is that some people always just go for the cheapest furniture because they try to save as much cost as possible. And what tends to happen is that the furniture breaks down very quickly. But most importantly, when when they're looking for bookings, people are very smart. They can tell nowadays. People can tell if the furniture is good or if it's crap, or if it's really if it's going to break down easily. And I think that if you have a second-hand couch that was 10 years old, that has clearly got scratches, marks, or even worse, maybe it's breaking apart as well, and you didn't change it, and you're trying to attract guests, then one, you're not going to really attract a lot of guests. Two, even if the guests do come and stay in your apartment or your property, they're not going to have a very good experience, and you're going to not have good reviews. And reviews are very important on Airbnb. And the moment you have a couple of reviews, that's enough to start deterring or people away, or start getting them to think twice about whether they want to book your property as well, because they're going to go, am I going to have a good night's sleep, because the bed looks a little bit dodgy, or it's sinking a little bit in the middle, or parts of the bed frames are breaking. Is the whole bed going to break apart when I sleep on the bed? So so our advice to all our clients is to really invest in your furniture, especially the main big items, your dining table, your sofa, your bed frame, your mattress. Those are the big items that you don't want to skimp on and save cost on. And that will, once you start getting good reviews, more people will come, and then your Airbnb property will grow.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And my very first one, I did the secondhand furniture, and it was okay. But as soon as you could start to afford the better stuff, you upgraded, because people commented on the quality of the beds. They're going there to sleep. They want a good bed, at minimum. So, how do you think people can optimize their space and using interior design ideas and to maximize profit? Have you got any ideas there that you can share with us?
Yeah, well, first things first, what's really, really important is to understand your space. So number one, go draw a floor plan and really measure up every room, the four corners of every room, so that you know what you can and can't fit. So whether you can fit a king or a queen size bed in a bedroom. It's so important to know what you can or can't do with your space. And number two is really know your demographic, right? If your property is in the Bayside versus CBD, you know
Yeah.
that you're going to get more, well, one, if it's a house as well, then you're going to get more families, right? So then you have to also take into account, well, if you're going to be attracting families, are you going to have babies, kids? Should you have baby chairs or cots available? Not to say that you should have it there the whole time, but at least available to set up if someone's asking for it. And it's something you can also mention in the Airbnb listing as well. And obviously just once you know the type of demographic that you are trying to attract, then just to furnish accordingly. You know, it'd be like making sure you fit the right furniture in the right space, the right sizing for the right demographic, right guests. So
Yeah, I think you make a really important point about the demographic. Like, you need to know who your target audience is going to be. And you're right, if you've got a gorgeous, massive mansion, bayside house, that A-Mark furniture ain't going to cut it. You know, you need to be, you need to be styling accordingly. But if you do have, say, little, one-bedroom studio in a grungy apartment in Footscray, which can also be a great thing. It doesn't need to be that high-end, full luxury, bed end, bed head kind of look, Do you kind of have any ideas and advice for those starting out about, I guess, budget ideas and advice? Do you sort of know, look, if you've got a two-bedroom apartment, say, what budget should you put aside to furnish that adequately? So I've got properties in Brunswick. I've got two-bedroom units in Brunswick. What would you put aside sort of for a budget of a nice apartment in Brunswick?
So for a two-bedroom apartment in Brunswick, just for furniture itself, I would say probably budget at safely $5,000. And then for appliances, it depends if you already have appliances, but usually your typical fridge, washer, dryer, and fridge you can add up anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, depending on for brand new anyway. And then you have to look at getting all the accessories. Probably you want to budget about $2,000 there as well. And most importantly, styling, which is what's going to personalize and really add the colors and to really attract people as well. For a two-bedroom, you could probably safely about $2,500 to $3,000 as well.
Yeah. So you're kind of looking at $12,500 to kit out a two-bedroom. Yep. That sounds pretty. For brand new. This is talking about brand new stuff.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Any suppliers and places that you would recommend we go to if we were going to get our furnishings brand new? I know you're Melbourne-based, but I know you go other places as well. But
so we do go to over 20 suppliers around the whole of Australia, wholesalers and retailers as well, depending on the need of the client and the property. But usually something that's easily accessible to anyone, that has really good design and quality and doesn't cost too expensive as well. Focus on furniture would be really, really good. They should probably pay me to mention this.
They should pay you.
Brosa is also really good. They have a wide range of really good designs, and that doesn't cost as expensive as like Coco Republic, for example. So those are some. So Focus and Brosa would be really good. IKEA is also really good if you have small size properties as well, because IKEA have really good space-saving furniture options. But my advice is don't go for the cheapest item. Do a bit more research, look into the materials that they use for each item. We do use IKEA for for that, sometimes that odd space layout, or that little spot that you just need something that fits really well or that's suitable. IKEA has just a wide range of different kinds of furniture and items that can really help, especially with saving space as well. So so you can probably start with those.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Yeah. So do you have any favorite failures bad stories, some failure, you just go, oh my goodness, you just shake your head and you go, how did you think that was an okay idea, in your experiences that you've seen someone do?
I guess one thing, a failure in interior design, I don't know if I'll consider this so much of a failure, but the Avengers apartment that we did, it was such a massive challenge for us, mainly because it was only 1 week to find a property before the launch of the Avengers movie, and we wanted to time it that way. And so by the time we found a client, that left us with only 3 days to renovate, furnish, and video the whole apartment. Wow. I would not recommend to anyone doing that. That is a massive failure on the project management side, I would say. And interior design as well, I think there was a lot of ideas that we wanted to do that we couldn't because of time constraint. And some ideas that we did, like people said it looked amazing, but I think there was some areas that were really lacking and could have done a lot better. And then what happened afterwards was, I mean, the apartment still did well, but after we, renovated, finished, and filmed the whole apartment, I was sick for like the next week. And I think my team had to take a break as well because it was just a monumental task to do. So that'll be a bit of a failure that always comes to mind.
You make a really interesting point. I watched Sean Radadovich, I think his name is. He's the guy who does Airbnb Automated. And I saw a video of his the other day, and he was saying, oh, yeah, you can set up a 1-bedroom apartment in 8 hours. And then he timed himself, and he sort of set up, he set up all the main furniture in 2 hours. And then he went on to sort of explain, then you do this and do this. And I'm like, this is not true, and then I realized, I'm like, well, yes, it might be 2 hours to set it all up. If someone else has delivered it there for you, they've already done the furniture selection because he's like got mass purchasing power and has got warehouses full. So he's already pulled out 1 couch, 1 bed, and has it all there, It takes time to plan it, to buy it, if you're renovating as well, and that's next level. It just does take, 8 hours would be ideal, but that's not reality. I think for the majority of people, when you're sourcing, you've got to source and put together. And if you're not used to doing it all the time, you've got to think about things and, put ideas together and feel like measure your spaces. And the first time when I was measuring spaces, I swear I went back to the property 3 times. So, I didn't write down the measurement the first time or something, to double check that if I'm spending the money on a king bed, the king bed actually fits in the room, But exactly. I definitely agree with getting, make sure you measure, because if you can fit a king bed in there, fit one in there, because people love king beds. And it is luxury. It's a kind of it feels value for money when you get to sleep in a king bed. You can fit in there.
Yeah. The whole process, people don't think about one, obviously measuring the floor plan, what can or can't fit in your space. That is absolutely the most important. I've met a lot of clients for their own home or their Airbnb home. They went and bought, like, someone I know bought a 5-seater sofa for a 1-bedroom apartment, only to realize that she's got no space for the dining table. So measuring your space is so important. That's something that you just have to do.
Very good advice. I'm just thinking about my own house, styling my own house, and I was going to go and buy this massive king living furniture, couch as well. I was going to really splash out. I was like, these will never fit in my house. Actually. All right. Is there a kind of order? So we've talked about measuring, but what comes next? Like, what is the order that you would want to design and style your Airbnb?
Yeah, so after measuring and drawing out a floor plan, we always recommend to our clients to come up with a vibe board or mood board of all the types of the styles, the furniture, and any little design ideas that you have into just one board, so you can see, and for each room as well. So really, you need to break it up into your living, dining, bedroom, study, nursery as well, just so you know the vision of what you want for each space and for your home. And once you start with that, then you can start to you have a reference point to start going shopping with. You can take this to go when you go into IKEA and say, which one of these items suit this look that I'm after, or something that's suitable. Or if you go online shopping, you have this board to be able to keep referencing from and see what is suitable. And then and then you can also obviously check the budget as well to see if it fits with your budget. So number one, so definitely have a budget from the start, and try to at least cater 10 to 15% over budget as well, because sometimes there are all these unexpected things that you may uncover during during the whole process. So, and lastly, most importantly, when you're also running a budget, have a deadline of when you want to finish your property, when you want to have everything done, so you can start marketing, you can start taking photos. And when you have your deadline, then when you're ordering furniture that it has to arrive before then.
Yep.
And then you can just work backwards and make sure everything's arriving on time and to what you have designed and planned for.
Yeah. So important. Yeah. So important. I guess if you're the owner, you're losing money. If you own if you own the property and you've got a property manager coming in, and you're paying a mortgage on this holiday home or investment property, you want it up and running and making an income as quickly as possible. And I know when I was doing the leasing model, we did not want to be paying rent for 2 weeks and not have any guests going in there. That project management was really, really critical part, and buying it as much and doing a lot of that design work before you either sign, maybe get the keys if on settlement, or sign the lease, or as the property manager, as soon as you maybe get a contract to go and set it up and design it and furnish it for the owner, you get going. You need to get going straight away. And hence
one more.
Taking photos of the spaces that is a good start.
And one last piece of advice as well that I would like to share is if you are finishing an apartment, please call the building manager and book the lift in advance. That's one of the most important things when organizing a delivery, and try to give at least 2 to 4 weeks buffer in booking your lift, because the last thing you want is you've organized everything and then the lift is completely booked out and you can't bring anything up to your apartment. So that's very important.
It's a huge issue in Melbourne CBD, isn't it? I've been caught out on that before. And my trick is make sure the storage, if you've got stuff in storage, make sure it's open on a Sunday when you booked everything to happen. I did that. Cancelled, the storage wasn't open. Anyway. Any examples of places that you've stayed or styled that stood out? We've talked about Avengers, but any other ones that you've stayed in, or you've just gone, oh God, that was a really great feature, or that really was good styling advice?
Yeah, I think when I think about holiday homes that I've styled in or Airbnb, stayed in, and Airbnb properties that I've stayed in would be ones in Mornington Peninsula. Some of the properties there, some of the houses there, so spacious but so well furnished and equipped with all your cutleries, with sufficient seating. The sofa is big enough for like a family of 5, or when I went on retreats, we had 10 people and everyone had at least a bean bag to sit on as well. And it was big enough and had a big TV. Beds were very comfortable, so it was furnished very well. Maybe it's because I'm a designer that I was able to really pick out what went well. But at the same time, I think there were properties that I stayed that didn't do too well because and I don't think you really need to be a designer to even notice that. There was one that we stayed recently early this year. The bedrooms were finished very well, but the sofa you could tell was very old, and it had a smell. You could tell they had dogs. But what was really bad was the one of the cushions. If you lift it up, the frame underneath broke through. And so no one was sitting. There was like a little space in between all of us because you couldn't sit there, and we had to put sheets over the sofa. So that just goes to show how important furnishing and just keep really upkeeping your property as well, just making sure that it's clean, it's well maintained. If you have pets, that's fine, but just make sure that the furniture is also protected in a way. So so that'll be some of the examples of good and bad of the properties I've stayed in.
No, that's really important. You're absolutely right. So any ideas to create Instagram worthy spaces in a property? It's kind of the thing to do, to attract particularly a younger clientele, but people want to be able to create memories and remember where they've been. What are some, if you can't paint a wall, but what are some ideas that you could use to create Insta-worthy spaces?
I think, well, you mentioned don't paint a wall, but for the Avengers part, we did do like a mural of the Hulk there. That was really cool. It was a feature for that apartment. But if you can't do that, I think you can definitely really look around your house and find what are some not too personal items that are unique to your property that you can use as a kind of like a feature for your property as well. For example, one of my friends, she's a pianist, and she's got a mini grand piano in her apartment. And she goes, "Oh, will people find this annoying? Will it just take up too much space? Should I put like an armchair?" And I'm like, "No, don't. Like that grand piano. Like if you Google or look on Airbnb for any like Airbnb properties in the CBD, how often would you find an apartment that has a mini grand piano?"
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
And that in itself can be a feature, and can be to a certain extent like a selling point and something that can really attract guests to go, "Wow, that's something that's really different." And obviously you can do a lot more, and making and obviously most importantly making sure that the property is well set up, but just something like that and can really be a great selling point and a great picture to take for your for Instagram, or that's Insta-worthy. So
So tell me a bit more about this Avengers place and property that you created, just to give people some ideas about, well, what did you do to make it so kind of, it was more than just a doona cover, obviously.
So I do have a video. Are we able to show a video, or probably not? Maybe I'll put the link.
Screen. Yeah, you can share your screen and show a video. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can find this video on YouTube. Where is so how do I share screen?
Down the bottom, you should get the option to share. It should be an option.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So let me just bring it up.
I love Facebook Lives. I'm just going live with this stuff. This isn't being choreographed, everybody. This is just us going on the fly. Great.
Yeah, exactly. My internet is not working. I wonder it's because of the. Oh no, it's fine. Okay, so I'll try and turn off the video, the audio, but you guys can see. Share screen. Share screen. Is it working?
Not yet. Just give it a minute. It might be just trying to come through.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yep.
Awesome. So I'll put this on full screen. That way. Oh, whoops, wrong button. And that way you guys can see. So this is a really exciting project because it was our first creative project. I'm a massive comic book fan, and so I really wanted to bring my passion and my hobby together, and this is what we did. And we did this in 3 days. One of the things that we really like, as I mentioned before, the feature of the Hulk mural in the bedroom, as you will see shortly. But the whole idea, the whole design for this apartment was to really give you that futuristic Avengers headquarters feel, like kind of like an Avengers apartment, tower. So we had a Captain America's room. So here's our Captain America cosplay model. Here's Bruce Banner's bunker, as we called it, or lab.
Yeah.
And one of the crazy ideas that we had was to attach really broken pieces of a bed on the wall to show that he has been destroying the apartment or destroying his room. But yeah, the whole apartment was just to really give it that futuristic feel. We repainted the entire apartment. We had a couple of toys here and there, but decorative items, and we made our own Captain America's punching bag, and this is the final product. So I'll put this video in the comments below.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, I think for our first project, we're really proud of what we've done, and that really pushed us to really think about what else can we do to really push the boundaries of creativity and really helping clients make their property stand out in the market. Because the challenge for that apartment was that it was one Airbnb. He wanted to put that apartment on Airbnb, and he was facing competition with over 200 apartments in the building.
Yes.
And so upon quick research, we go, all right, all these people were getting around $120 to $150 per night.
Yep.
And we said, if you were to do it up, you'd be able to, one, obviously grab the attention of guests, and hopefully drive more, get better reviews and traffic towards your apartment. And sure enough, with better reviews, he was able to get a rate of $180 to $200 per night. And we also did an influencer campaign for that project as well, where we got another influencer, not Thor in the video, and the moment she did a giveaway, like just a 1 or 2 night stay giveaway on Facebook, it got 1,000 shares overnight, and that apartment was booked out for up to the next 3 months. So we're really proud of the work that we've done with this project, and yeah, we really can't wait to do more creative, fun projects like this in the future.
So awesome that you've got it's a beautiful case study of that bit of how much do you think the initial creation of the space was? I guess I'm just curious about the return on investment there for the owner.
Yep. So for this project, it cost $15,000 for furniture, renovation, and the the appliances as well.
Yep.
I believe the rental increase was about obviously we didn't do the math of the rental increase, but the occupancy rate was how much? Was 80 to 90%. So
yep.
I can't remember on top of my head what the figures were, because this was.
I'm doing the calculations right now. So if it's $180 a night, times 365, so that's $65,000 a year. But then, what did we say the occupancy was?
About 85% safely.
So it's $55,000 a year.
Yep. 55,000 a year. Yeah.
Yeah, in revenue, and obviously there's some expenses to come out of that. And the holding costs and that sort of, but that's a lot more money than you would have earned. And
that property was owner host as well.
It was an owner host.
So they didn't hire a manager, so they didn't have to pay any management fees. And so he was able to keep a lot more of the profit. And I think from memory, he paid the finishing costs or the renovation costs within less than 8 months. I can't remember the stats. This was 3 years ago.
Well, the difference between the two, like it's like 55,000 and 37,000. So it's about 37,000 without the Avengers. So say you just did $120 a night, and then compared to $180 a night with the Avengers. Say even if we kept the 85% occupancy at equal, 37 and 55,000 is a huge difference. But we know the occupancy probably wouldn't have been as high without the Avengers theme. So that's a really awesome example of how much of a difference it makes. And then couple that with your influencer campaign, like brilliant. a bit of marketing, and not hard, like achievable, like doing a Facebook giveaway of 2 nights, and finding an influencer to do that work for you. Like amazing.
Yeah, and we actually replicated that for the Harry Potter apartment as well, the Wizarding Room in Melbourne, and that also got 1,000 followers overnight and got so much bookings after that. So it just goes to show when you have the right plan and you're also open to being creative as well, that that's something that you can really be proud of the home that you've designed for, but also see it bring in a higher rental return for you as well.
Yep. Amazing. Well, that's all my questions. And I often like to end with a couple of little 5 sort of quick fire questions, and I haven't got them in front of me today, but I can remember off the top of my head. It's kind of, are you okay if I ask you a few of these? They're really simple.
Sure.
Like, what's beside your bed? What are you reading at the moment?
What am I reading at the moment? The Bible. That's the first thing comes to mind.
Beautiful. Do you listen to podcasts, and are there any podcasts that you like at the moment?
I don't listen to too many podcasts, but I do listen to Wes Hone. He's a business coach. He runs Business Greenhouse and Kingdom Business on Facebook. So you guys can probably find him and look him up. Yep,
beautiful. When you're allowed to travel overseas again, where's your first destination going to be?
Last time we went to Europe, it will either be the States or Northern Europe.
Yep.
Yeah.
How come?
Those 2 places. We really want to go to my wife and I really want to visit the beautiful countries of the Scandinavian countries. Scandinavian. And just go to the States and go to a basketball game. I like basketball. And just really I really want to visit New York. A lot of TV shows that I watch, they happen in New York. So,
yeah, beautiful. And I know you guys have just been in lockdown, and hopefully getting some release from that a bit more today. I haven't heard the announcements, but if you had to be in lockdown again, what celebrity would you like to be locked down with?
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, first person that came to mind was Robert Downey Jr. because he plays Iron Man. I'm a comic book fan. So, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. And my last question, dog lover or cat lover?
Dog.
Beautiful. Well, that is it. It has been a pleasure having you on here today. People, if you have appreciated what Keith shared with us today, please let us know in the comments. Give us a like, share the video, go to check out. Keith, do you have a Facebook page?
Yeah, we do. Facebook at facebook.com/morc.interiors.
Yep, perfect. So people can go and check you out there, check out your website. We'll get you just to share that video, I reckon, just straight into the group, and people can get some inspiration. And I think that's a wonderful idea. So thank you so very much, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.